We were stewards of this land with a profound and enduring relationship to the oceans, valleys, mountains, and streams on what we now call San Diego. We cared for our people who prospered and survived with what foods the land and seas offered. And spiritual relationship that exists today. Thank you.
Welcome to Chair Nathan Fletcher's 2022 State of San Diego County Address. Singing the national anthem this evening is Mariachi Nueva Tradición San Diego.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Life under regular but the struggles we have had to endure over the last couple of years have been even harder. Pandemic, recession, societal divisions, higher costs for gas and groceries. I know it's been tough on everyone, but through all the challenges the world throws at us, we have to keep moving forward. And your county government is doing the same thing.
Supervisor Fletcher early on was one of the instrumental partners with the San Diego Foundation in launching our COVID Response Fund.
The past 3 years, the county's investments in parks like this have been so critical to providing resources for the community to be able to get outside, to reconnect to their environment, but also to one another.
IBEW has always been an advocate for communities of concern. We really value the policies that Nathan Fletcher has spearheaded, like child care vouchers, internet access for them that we have actually helped install. Also, green energy jobs, and we need more union jobs that are friendly to the environment that we can all profit and grow from.
I learned how to get job, how to do interview, how to be a good worker. When I get job in a hotel,
ended up being homeless, but like
thank the Lord that there was people that were able to help me out and actually put me back on my feet now.
More than 500 individuals will reside and prosper. And then in addition to that, there are 60 units here that will be supported through the county on an ongoing basis. This is made possible through the collaboration of many partners, and especially the County of San Diego, and specifically County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher.
One of the things that we've learned quite a bit is the need in downtown for us to have a mobile crisis response team that's able to help folks that are suffering from behavioral type challenges. And we're just extremely thrilled that the county is now launching this mobile crisis response team throughout the entire region.
We were on the brink of going out of business completely, and Supervisor Fletcher stepped in, the county stepped in, gave us a grant back in October, September of last year, and that really gave us a lifeline to continue business and to continue going. That actually opened up the possibility for us to do a roasting department, now sell online.
As you've just heard, we have been focused on taking action, on getting things done, not just talking about it. Driving transformational change, making historic investments in our future. We have fought every day to make your life better in every way we can. And that drive will never stop. We are and will always be a county government that you can count on.
It is now time for the 2022 State of San Diego County Address. Please welcome the Chair of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, the Honorable Nathan Fletcher.
Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is beautiful to see everyone here in person. You know, being here together, it is a sign of the real progress we have made after an incredibly difficult couple of years. We gather tonight to talk about the state of our county, where we are, progress we've made, and where we need to go. We're here at San Diego's Continuing Education Center in the district of Councilmember Montgomery Steppe because this is a place of progress, where working people and our youth get trained for good paying careers in nursing, automotive, construction trades. That's the progress that working families need. And that's the progress that I fight for every single day as the chair of the Board of Supervisors. Now, I want to warn you in advance. Our 17-hour board meetings have built my endurance for long meetings. So we might be here for a little bit. But on a serious note, I know how hard life has been for a while. The pandemic, the deep divisions, the lingering problems. But for all of the challenges that surround us, we also see signs of real progress, of real hope. It began with our community coming together to mount one of the most effective COVID-19 responses in the nation. Despite threats and intimidation and acts of violence, through all of this, we never wavered from doing what was right. In the face of disinformation and division, we did not give up and we did not give in. We kept moving forward. More than 93% of San Diegans vaccinated, one of the lowest COVID death rates in the nation. Half the COVID death rate of the state of Florida. Let me repeat that. Half the COVID death rate of the state of Florida. What we did together saved lives. We provided swift emergency relief that local businesses, families, and workers needed. And together, we're rebuilding our economy. Throughout the whole of the pandemic, our county workers did not flinch. They took care of us through COVID. And now moving forward, we're going to take care of them. But even facing a pandemic, we never lost sight from the focus on the need to make life better for San Diego families. Affordable housing being built with more on the way. On homelessness, we focused on the tough work for long-term solutions around mental health and substance abuse, and we see progress. We raised wages on local infrastructure projects and are committed to putting San Diegans back to work like never before. We're cleaning up our air and our water. We're tackling climate change with new renewable energy that can reduce your utility bill and reduce pollution. Through all of these things, you can see that the state of San Diego County is strong and getting stronger every single day. And I'm not going to let anyone take us backwards. And for us tonight, this is the fundamental question. Will we allow the forces of division to paralyze progress and drag us backwards? Or will we come together to make the difficult decisions, tackle the greatest challenges, and never lose sight of the goal to build the better future that San Diego families deserve? I choose progress. I fight forward. And I hope you will join me, because I know we can do it. We actually work collaboratively. Not just the Board of Supervisors, but our city, our state, our federal, our tribal partners, along with community leaders. 94% of the actions I have brought before our board have been bipartisan. We have to summon that same spirit of purpose and collaboration as we tackle the challenges that are in front of us, starting with homelessness. For too long, the response to our homeless crisis has been inaction, empty promises, or just indifference. People will demand action, and then those same people will oppose any solution that gets brought forward. Encampments will get moved with nowhere for people to go. Those with mental illness get shuffled around, but no long-term plan. The forces of division and opposition have held us back for far too long, and this is one of the biggest challenges our community faces today. And if we want a better future, we have to overcome that. We have to move forward. In the last 3 years, your county government has pushed past the paralysis of the past. We have enacted reforms and unprecedented investments into the long-term solutions that actually get to the root of the problem. We launched mobile crisis response teams, deploying teams of trained mental health clinicians and counselors, not just police, to more effectively help people experiencing mental health crisis on the street. It is a landmark innovation, a first for San Diego County. They have already helped more than 941 people, and the program is growing stronger by the day. For decades, our county had approached addiction in a failed way. This board rejected that. We adopted a harm reduction strategy to get people into treatment and to save lives. We're opening new crisis stabilization units all over the county so that those facing mental health and addiction can get started on the long-term support and help that they need. Just last year, nearly 500 youth were placed in supportive housing. We helped 1,420 San Diegans find permanent homes. A new shelter for the most acute homeless cases, launched in partnership with Mayor Todd Gloria, is open and it's full. So together with the mayor, who has been an incredible partner, we will be announcing a new safe haven facility focused exclusively on helping those with intensive mental health and drug addiction challenges. Our governor has ideas. Our district attorney has ideas. Let's be open to any approach that might help make things better. But in all of this, one of the biggest obstacles we face is a shortage of trained behavioral health workers. We have a plan for this, and it's showing progress. Together with the San Diego Workforce Partnership, we have created a first-in-the-nation training program for substance use disorder counselors. We are also taking those who have walked the long road of addiction to recovery, and we're hiring them and putting them to work as peer support specialists. And there's more coming. But let me be clear, addressing the long-term root cause of homelessness and the shortage of behavioral health workers are not going to stop us from doing more to get people off the streets right now. We will be placing the shelter donated by the Lucky Duck Foundation on county-owned land in the city of San Diego. By July, we'll have this new 150-bed shelter open in the Midway area in partnership with the City of San Diego and the local community. And I want to take a moment and recognize the leaders in the Midway community. You see, they rightfully demanded action to address the problem. And then they courageously became a part of the solution. Thank you to those in the Midway community for joining us. My colleague, Supervisor Joel Anderson, is leading the push to identify locations for homelessness in East County. You see, Joel understands you can't just push the problem from one area to another. You have to actually deal with it. But in all of these efforts, I remain frustrated by how long progress can take. So tonight, I am announcing that our county government is providing all 18 cities in San Diego a standard agreement to rapidly open homeless support sites without delay. You provide the structure. You provide the structure, and your county government will be here to provide the behavioral health services. Now, for those cities with limited resources who say, we don't have the funds to set up shelters, safe parking, safe camping, tonight I am announcing that our county government is making available $10 million in grants for cities to kickstart their efforts. If your city government's ready to act on homelessness, your county government's here for it. Cities, it's your move. COVID restrictions on our economy were lifted 9 months ago. We spent the last year getting small businesses open, cleared of COVID rules, and funded to help cover the damage that had been done. They took an immense hit, and they are going to need our support moving forward. But working families today are facing a whole new kind of pain. The cost of everything is out of control. Gas, utilities, rent, even food. And wages, for sure, have not kept up with rising prices. And I get it. I grew up in a working-class factory town in the South. I know the struggles that working families go through because we lived them. I saw firsthand exactly how the debt got so stacked against working people. Factories closed, jobs offshored, unions attacked. To add insult to injury, you watch the same CEOs who profit off exploiting their workers use the ill-gotten gains to blast themselves into space for fun. Some people say local government can't make a meaningful difference in an increasingly global economy. But I know we can. We must. San Diego County was the first in the state to support the governor's proposal to provide people relief from higher gas prices. We should use the state's record surplus to provide help and assistance to those most in need. I'm proud all 5 supervisors came together across party lines to give relief and voice to what working families are going through right now. But a rebate alone will not build back the middle class. It takes more than that. We recently passed the Working Families Ordinance to ensure apprenticeship training opportunities and a union wage on county land. Our Office of Labor Standards and Enforcement is coming online to ensure fairness for our workers. Progress, but more needs to be done. Working with Vice Chair Vargas, we will bring forward a warehouse safety ordinance to ensure our workers are protected against unfair and unsafe practices. We will explore how we can enact a living wage ordinance. And we will lean into the fight to support our unionized workers. It's time as a county that we overturn the outdated ban on project labor agreements. You see, PLAs ensure that a job is done on time, on budget, with good wages and safety standards, and with local workers. More unionized workers means a stronger economy, stronger families. It means a stronger San Diego. It also means less homelessness. I have never met a senior with a pension who is living on the streets. So many of our efforts, rent subsidy, affordable housing, public assistance, at their core, these are about poverty. Some continue to embrace the practice of blindly subsidizing greed. But I say in San Diego, we should fight to ensure that no one who works full-time lives in poverty. And we all know the cost of housing remains too high. I can't wave a wand and undo the failed policies of the board before I got here. They didn't build housing. An average of just over 600 units in the 7 years before I joined this board. But I can fight with every fiber of my being to build more homes that working families can actually afford. The failed housing policies of the past aren't working. And we have to move forward to enact real change. State leaders like President Pro Tem of the Senate, Tony Atkins, are leaning into the fight, passing vital legislation to make our job easier. This year alone, your county government is on pace to issue more than 1,600 new building permits for new housing in the unincorporated region of our county, up almost 50% from the year before. We're getting out of the decades of litigation that bogged down progress. We made the tough and difficult decision to implement a change in how we approve housing. But in doing so, we greenlighted 4,000 units of housing that can be built cheaper and faster. But we know that our region's housing needs are not going to be met in the unincorporated areas alone. It is too rural, with too much fire danger, which is why we are taking swift action to convert underutilized county-owned property in the urban areas into housing. 1,000 units of affordable housing are underway, and more locations are being made available. And since we know this approach works, building affordable housing on government-owned land, let's do it at scale. Not 100 here, 200 there, 300 there, and not just the county. Working with Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer, we'll bring every government agency who's committed to tackling housing to the table. Bring your surplus land and let's put together a package to master plan 10,000 units of affordable housing. The San Diego Foundation has agreed to step up with a $10 million philanthropic gift to organize and jumpstart this initiative. We thank the foundation for your help during COVID, and tonight, we thank them once again. Their leader, Mark Stewart, is with us. Thank you, Mark, Susan Gwynn, and everyone at the San Diego Foundation for your support. And no discussion of economic opportunity is complete without talking about quality, affordable childcare. Our county has dedicated funding to launch our first child care center for our employees. Next month, our board will consider a $10 million investment in expanding child care workforce, facilities, and opportunities for all of San Diego. We partnered with Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs to secure $1 million in federal funding to help small child care facilities be able to expand. Our city leaders are working to identify properties that can be converted into new locations. This is all progress. But now it's time that we bring all of these efforts together. You heard our president say, cut the cost of child care. And he has proposed an overdue investment to do just that. We need Congress to act. But as a county, we need to be ready. Now, in all the discussions about child care, there will remain those who will oppose any government action on child care. Those who tell families to just fend for yourself. That's a mindset stuck in the past. Not understanding that the lack of quality, affordable child care is one of the biggest barriers to women's success in the workforce. Or not understanding that the cost of preschool today is almost as much as a mortgage. Here in San Diego, we'll move forward. That's why I will call a special Board of Supervisors conference exclusively on this issue. chaired by the Labor Council and the Chamber of Commerce. This is an issue that brings people together. It is time we align behind a regional plan, which must include both affordable child care and better pay for our child care workers. We also have to do more to help children who face neglect and abuse. Over the last 3 years, our child welfare system has undergone tremendous reform. We completed all 88 distinct recommendations from a community working group. And these changes have made a difference. But now we must focus more on supporting families before they reach a state of crisis. Our new Department of Child and Family Well-Being will consolidate multiple departments into one and make crisis prevention our goal. Because every child deserves a stable and loving family. For most, that'll be their birth parents. For others, a life of love will come via adoption. 2 of our family's 5 children are adopted. They will say that they were chosen, that their birth parents were unable to care for them and God chose their family. Adoption has given our family the greatest gift imaginable. Our county administers hundreds of adoptions per year, and I encourage you to explore this opportunity to provide a forever family to a child in need. But we also need folks who can help temporarily, folks who are willing to step into the breach and become a foster parent. Now, make no mistake, this will be one of the hardest things that you can do. But if you talk to any foster parent, they will also tell you that it is one of the most rewarding. But we need more. We need foster families of color. We need those who are willing to embrace our LGBT youth. We also desperately need families that are willing to accept siblings. We never want to remove a child from a home. But if we have to, we never want to separate siblings. But that requires homes that are willing to accept a little bigger blessing. We need more families willing to take children over the age of 8, especially teens. Look, I get it. Teens can be tough. I know. But they deserve our love. And we need our faith community to step up. The sacred texts of all major religions remind us of the critical obligation to care for children, the vulnerable, and as Matthew tells us, the least among us. That's why I'm committed to re-energizing the county's partnership with faith groups. It is called Faith in Motion, and it organizes churches to recruit new foster families, and just as importantly, to mobilize their congregations to support those families. Clothing, childcare, thoughtful prayers. So far, 19 San Diego congregations have signed up, but we want more. Tonight, we call on our faith leaders across denomination to answer the call. Pastor Terrell Fletcher, who did our invocation, not only has an incredibly strong name, but Pastor Terrell Fletcher is an early leader. But he's joined by Pastor David Ordaz from One Church in La Mesa and many others. Because you see, the commitment to children brings us together across geography, across denomination, and across ideology. These pastors will help build an army willing to care for our region's children. And tonight, we say thank you. This issue is a deeply personal one for me. I have yet to find any ease in discussing very painful things. But the start of my life was rough. The product of an unstable and violent biological father who wreaked a living hell on my life. I know these kids in need because I was one. And we have to do everything we possibly can to do right by them. For every child out there who, through no fault of your own, has landed in a tough spot, I want you to know that not just your county government, but the entire San Diego community has your back in this fight and this effort. If you were clapping for that, we expect to see you signing up. Our framework for the future, it outlines our commitment to fighting for racial justice and equity. That means standing with the API community against the vicious hate crimes that have come their way. That means driving change because Black lives matter. It means always being there for the LGBT community, and in particular, the trans community, who are facing hateful discrimination across this nation. I will never understand the hostility towards someone based simply on their identity. It's just wrong. And for our trans community, I want you to know that we love you, just as you are. Our commitment also ensures we embrace our immigrants and refugees, those who are fleeing oppression and tyranny. In San Diego, we have welcomed from Central America, from Africa, from Afghanistan, and now from Ukraine. But we need the outpouring of support we see for Ukrainian refugees, for all refugees. As a county this year, we will redouble our efforts with our federal partners to establish a permanent shelter for those who are fleeing violence. There'll be opposition. Some still want to build a wall. But that's not the San Diego that I see. I see a welcoming community. And that makes us stronger. I'm so fortunate to have an amazing partner in this effort, Vice Chair Nora Vargas. An immigrant, a strong Latina. You might know, I have a deep appreciation for strong Latinas. You see, I listen, I respect, and I appreciate the daily leadership that Nora Vargas brings to San Diego County. And together, we will be there to fight for a more equitable, fair, and just county. We will also never lose sight of our enduring obligations to keep our community safe. We do this by never retreating in the fight for racial justice and needed reforms to our criminal justice system. And we do this by never retreating in the fight for a San Diego where every family is safe from violent crime. We took action to outlaw ghost guns, unserialized, untraceable firearms that are a great threat to public safety today. And let me be clear, despite what you may have heard, we never stopped funding public safety in San Diego County. Please get your news from reliable sources that will tell you the truth. We need law enforcement. We value and appreciate them. And that support will never waver. And neither will our commitment to civil rights and the need to build trust between communities and law enforcement. And in our county, we fight for both, because that's how we truly build a San Diego that is actually safe. If we want to talk about keeping people safe, we've got to talk about the opioid crisis. Last year, more than 1,000 San Diegans died from an opioid-related overdose, a 16% increase from the year before. But this year-over-year increase is not new. It goes back more than a decade. Every one was someone's child. Alex Nava, 23 years old. He had his entire life ahead of him. He was known for an amazing smile, an infectious and engaging sense of humor. Alex was known for the love of his family. A skateboarding injury led to an OxyContin prescription. That led to addiction, overdose, and a year later, his death. It will crush your soul to hear his mom, Lisa, talk about how our only priority as parents is to protect our children, and that she could not protect Alex. Lisa founded the Addiction Awareness Institute, a support group for families who have been impacted by addiction. Representatives from this group and the Nava family are with us here tonight, and your county grieves with you. We love you, and we want you to know that it is in the memory of Alex and every other life lost that we will fight back. Our county is among the leading plaintiffs in legal action against Purdue Pharma. This is the drug company that knowingly addicted millions of Americans to make billions of dollars for themselves. We took them to court to demand justice. And we are putting every drug company and dealer that's hurt San Diego families on notice that we won't hesitate to come after you either. We stand on the verge of a settlement that could bring $100 million to our county to try and repair the damage that's been done. But when this happens, we must swiftly implement a plan to invest these funds, starting by tackling the supply. You see, 80% of those addicted to heroin started abusing a prescription drug, often leftovers in a cluttered medicine cabinet. So let's clean out those medicine cabinets with these drug deactivation bags. We could mail one to every San Diego home. You can take any medication, put it in this pouch, add some water, and throw it in the trash. We could require that any new opioid prescription be accompanied by one of these as well. If we lower the supply, we're going to begin to lower the risk. San Diego was among the first in the nation to embrace naloxone, an overdose reversing medication for widespread use. We are distributing more of these than ever before. But in that moment, after you save a life, we need to transform it. Project Relay in New York dispatches peer support specialists to anyone in an emergency room who has just suffered from an overdose. We need this here. We need more treatment centers, and we need to better utilize the healthcare system we already have. Far too few local physicians have completed the necessary steps to prescribe life-saving treatments. Let's do better. Together with Supervisor Joel Anderson, whose East County district has been hit hardest by the opioid crisis, we will launch a series of convenings across San Diego County. Our goal is simple: bring these ideas and any other ideas. Bring them all to the table. Let's identify the best usage for the opioid settlement funds and develop a comprehensive plan before we have the funds. These actions will not bring back a life, but if we do it right, it could save one. Something else we'll never back down on is tackling climate change. I gotta tell you, it's actually real. It's actually caused by humans. I know, it feels a little silly to need to say that. But sadly, there still remains some folks who aren't sure, or who don't care about the threat. You see, our sea levels are expected to rise by a foot into the middle of this century, which means significant flooding for San Diego Bay, Mission Bay, Imperial Beach, La Jolla shores, disrupting our entire way of life. We have witnessed the erosion of our bluffs in Del Mar, threatening to collapse a vital rail connection. We remain in a drought. We are seeing more intense storms, heat waves, and flooding. And all of this motivates us to act. And here you can see progress. A new climate action plan is underway with a pathway to 100% renewable energy. More than 14,000 new renewable energy permits issued in just the last 3 years. A regional decarbonization strategy, community choice energy to fulfill the promise of cleaner energy and lower costs. The urgency is now, and the progress is real. And we can't allow anyone to drag us backwards. We have to keep moving forward. We have to move forward realizing that agriculture is not only a part of our economy, it's a part of our environment. If you want to cut greenhouse gas emissions, then let's grow more of our food locally. And we have to understand that a path to a greener environment must also be a path to a more prosperous middle class. You see, the fossil fuel industry has simultaneously wreaked havoc on our planet while also providing a lot of really good paying union jobs. To the workers who are watching tonight, and are nervous about this transition, we've got your back. We must ensure that tomorrow's clean energy jobs continue to employ today's energy workers with the same pay and benefits. But for those workers, we need you to join us in this fight to save our planet, because it's the only one we've got. Standing together, we can protect the jobs that feed your children, and we can protect the planet that your children will inherit. And while we try to change the future, we cannot escape the present. As our climate gets hotter and drier, the smallest ember can fly miles, land on a roof, or in a dry canyon. And that is all it takes. We have seen devastating wildfires throughout our state. Our county fire service has to respond to wildfires in the North and East County with a single-engine helicopter, which means they can't fly at night and they can't carry as much water as necessary to confront today's threat. 15 years ago, Supervisor Diane Jacob pushed for a dual-engine firefighting helicopter in our county's air response arsenal. She was right. Folks didn't listen. We need to take emergency action to appropriate $15 million to obtain our first dual-engine firefighting helicopter. We are working on other fire preparedness issues with members of Congress Scott Peters and Darrell Issa, but this one is urgent. We need to act now. We've got to protect our environment in order to truly enjoy the outdoors. I mean, we've got great weather. This is a natural advantage that no politician can screw up. John Muir said, "Keep close to nature's heart and break clear away once in a while to wash your spirit clean." It's true. And I want you to do that in a county park. Not just our neighborhood parks, although we have built 13 new ones in the last 3 years. But I want you to really embrace the outdoors in one of our regional parks. Some of my greatest memories with my family are the times we've spent together outdoors, listening to them complain the entire way up Iron Mountain, and then watching their wonder at the incredible views from the top. Sitting around a campfire telling stories before you settle into your tent for the night. Some of you might question, yes, my wife does indeed get in a tent. She's a warrior, a little bit of a princess, but one hell of a camper. But these are the experiences that bring us together. They provide perspective. And these opportunities exist in our regional parks. Agua Caliente County Park, geothermal heated natural springs, campsites and cabins, skies free of light pollution and full of stars. Flint Springs County Park, shaded oak groves, a year-round stream, and grassy meadows. Lake Morena County Park, camping and fishing in the shadows of the Laguna Mountains. Sweetwater Regional Camp, tent and RV camping at the top of the summit, fishing, hiking, horseback riding, and a new bike track. Starting this summer, we will launch an aggressive monthly campaign to highlight our regional parks. But let's face it, there is a tremendous barrier to your first time camping, fishing, or hiking. It's a lot of stuff. A night under the stars sounds great, but you got to find a tent and then figure out how to put it together. So let your county government remove that barrier. You see, I want the joy that I watch in my children's experiencing being outdoors. I want that same joy for every San Diego child. And so tonight I'm thrilled to announce our new outdoor experience program designed to facilitate first-time experiences for San Diego families. Not only will we cover your admission into the park, but we will give you all of the gear, instruction, and assistance any individual or family needs. And if you can't get to the park on your own, then we'll cover that as well. Day and night hiking, rock climbing, fishing, kayaking and canoeing, mountain biking, camping. This program will break down the barriers and open up the wonders of the outdoors for all of San Diego. And finally, I promise this is the last item, our veterans. I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted to give back to my country. But the Marine Corps gave me far more than I could ever give back. It taught me commitment, believing in something bigger than myself. It gave me a lifelong dedication to service and sacrifice. Tonight we are honored to be joined by military leaders, veterans, and their family. Please stand so that we can recognize you. Military is a part of our community, our culture, our economy, and it always will be. This year, the Marine Corps Recruit Depot celebrated 100 years of making Marines right here in San Diego. I graduated from boot camp there 25 years ago, earning the title Marine. 2 years ago, I watched with immense pride as my son graduated from boot camp there, earning that same title. Marine Corps boot camp's tough. And I'll tell you, you never forget your drill instructors. No, I mean never. I recently ran into one of my former drill instructors. I had immediate flashbacks to what that man had done to me. The anxiety was real. I did a quick assessment, proper shave, shoes polished, standing with good posture. Realized I was definitely failing on the haircut. But in this overwhelming sense, it took me a minute to appreciate how our circumstances had changed. You see, my drill instructor had retired after more than 2 decades of honorable service in the Marine Corps, and he'd gotten hired as an adult protective service specialist for the county of San Diego. That's right. He works for the county now. Oh, how the tables have turned. It crossed my mind to find a county park and have him climb the rope over and over and over again. But of course, I didn't do any of that because he's still my former drill instructor. Please welcome Senior Drill Instructor, Staff Sergeant Patrick Casal and his family for joining us here tonight. Thank you, sir, for what you did for me and what you now do for our seniors in San Diego County. You see, veterans make great county workers, but sadly, they only make up 6% of our county workforce. We can do better. Together with fellow veteran Supervisor Jim Desmond, we will ask our colleagues to adopt a more aggressive approach to hiring veterans with a goal to double the number of veterans in our county workforce. And we'll even hold a few spots for former drill instructors. Every day of my life, for the rest of it, every day, I will think about the friends that I lost in war. They gave their life because their country asked them to. They did it for each other, sharing a bond that transcends political party, race, religion, country of birth. We have always answered the call with a relentless focus on accomplishing the mission. I never once went to my commanding officer and said, you know, you gave me an order to do something, but it was hard. Not once. We got the job done. We trusted each other, knowing that our individual contribution was a part of something bigger, and knowing that others were counting on us to do our job. San Diego, we've got to take some inspiration. We've got to take some motivation. Honestly, we've got to take some accountability from that same spirit. And so tonight we end the State of the County address right back where we started. The fundamental question about what we choose to do here. Do we allow the forces of division and status quo to slow us down? Or do we bravely chart a path forward, tackling some of our most pressing issues? And that doesn't mean that we can solve our problems overnight. But it does mean that we can fight like hell to drive progress every day. It doesn't mean we will always agree. But it does mean that we can never lose sight that there remains something bigger than our differences that holds us together. The love of our children, our neighbors, the basic belief that the path to a more perfect union requires us to ensure justice, fairness, and opportunity for all. And this obligation for a better San Diego, it does not just fall on your county government. And it doesn't just fall on your Board of Supervisors. It falls on all of us. If we can seek out our better angels, embrace the fight to challenge our most vexing and challenging problems, and never be afraid to drive bold solutions, if we can do that, then the state of our county will continue to get stronger every single day. Thank you all so very much for joining us this evening. We appreciate it. Thank you. We're done.